All right, let's go. Ayo, we're three hot guys sharing our opinions because we're special and different. Gold medals, we're winning. Can't help it if we're burdened by our intellect. You can play checkers while we pretend we know the rules to chess. The council has spoken, and we are the chosen. Your nose is broken because I broke it.
And welcome back to another episode of Will of the Council. It's your boy Joseph. We have Jordan in the booth.
That's me. I'm here.
We've got Danny on the Philadelphia stage. He's the next vice president of the United States.
Thank you. Yes, I know what you're all thinking. Did I get that DUI in like the 90s? Yes. Now vote harder for me.
He's a true American, I gotta tell you.
That's right.
Blue sweep.
Blue sweep.
We've got Becky on the ones and twos.
Every vote
How's everybody
in Wisconsin.
doing today? I do like that they were like, no, man, I mean, you can't have a drunk in the VP slot. It's like, why? That's where they belong.
100%.
Why?
We'll
We'll flip Florida. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Today's good.
Everyone in Florida has DUIs, but it's for like old people drugs. Like they're found with like lethal amounts of like Prilosec in their bloodstream. Oh my God. You take enough Ozempic as a 70-year-old and you are not clear to drive.
That's right.
No, I mean, a lot of stuff has happened politically over the last couple of days, and we've been talking about politics for the last couple of weeks because why wouldn't we, right? Like things are happening for the first time in years. But today I think it's time we talk about something a little more important than, what is this? The vice president of the United States. I've never even heard of this office.
Yeah, I know.
I
forgot that this was like a thing.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Like it matters.
Apparently we've had one for the last 300 years. First I heard of it.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about something that does matter, something that was perceived, something that's important to the future of this country. I'm talking about the fact that none of y'all are doing the activism necessary to make Harold and the Purple Crayon a box office success. What's wrong with you people?
What's
That's
wrong
true.
with all of you?
My
Listeners,
activism missed the mark. I forgot about Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Okay, so I have to reveal to you all. First off, crayon. What do you fucking?
How do you pronounce it? Crayon?
Yes, that's the letters in the word
No,
crayon.
say the word right now. Say it.
a crayon.
You're fucking with me.
No.
Shut up.
No,
No.
you're from the Midwest.
Yeah,
I will say,
it's fine.
I was also raised in the Midwest, and everyone around me said crayon, and I remember being like livid about it as a child. I was like, it's crayon. The word is crayon, and part of that neuroticism came from my love of the children's book Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Oh my God.
I, as a child,
Stop.
I'm not joking. I was a Harold head growing up.
A Harold head.
It had a lot to do with the fact that my favorite color was purple, but there are like 9 of this book, and I knew them all. I could read them all. I loved the Purple Crayon. I thought it was epic. I would carry around a purple crayon. I'm unhappy to hear that it didn't translate to the silver screen.
Okay, I've never even heard of this franchise before. Like, I think I saw one ad.
Are you
for
fucking
this
with me?
Are you
You've-
serious?
You've
It's like a
never
huge
heard of
kids'
Harold
book.
and the Purple Crayon?
I know, I've never heard of it. Still,
You've never seen.
You need to stop reading books in which the makers are putting unnecessary sex scenes and start reading real literature. I'm talking about YA. I'm talking about Cat in the Hat.
Me.
Harold and the Purple Crayon
Me.
is right at home in like any toddler's bookshelf.
Yeah.
The plot is there's a little bald boy. I guess he's bald because he's a child, named Harold, and he's got a huge imagination, and he has a crayon where everything he draws with the crayon comes to life. And the books are like he goes around drawing cars and shit and like getting into trouble and having fun adventures.
it sounds cool, and I bet
Yeah.
Kid Me would have loved this shit, but I'd never heard of it.
No, it was very
Well,
popular.
That's why you turned out the way you did.
Oh, so true. Yeah, that's right.
Straight. That's why you turned out straight.
Harold and the Bisexual Crayon.
Yeah,
Shut
that's very true.
up. So the first trailers of this movie. First off, as soon as you know,
You said movie in quotes. Movie?
yeah, because if any of you have read the children's novel
No,
of
yeah,
Harold
you're
and the
right.
Purple
It's
Crayon,
strange.
it's a
strange.
baby. The main character is a baby, so you're like, okay, well, how are they supposed to do this? And then it's like the main guy is just like, an adult, and you're like, already everything is wrong. It doesn't have to be exact, but like you're already ready to not enjoy it because it's already jumping away from the premise of the book. So you're like, all right, well, this better be freaking good. And then you watch the trailer and you're like, That was terrible. I don't want to watch that.
Like, this is the thing I don't understand about it. You are correct. The original is, and even as a kid, I hated this shit when like animated characters from books would get live action movies and then they would be played by like a famous actor. Who is this for? Like,
Yes.
the target audience for Harold and the Purple Crayon is fucking 4-year-olds. But they're like, no, those 4-year-olds are going to go nuts for Zachary Levi.
Yes.
They're like,
Insane
they're
choice.
huge fans of Zachary Levi's, Israel first politics. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. So I guess the audience is like the millennials that they're endlessly trying to pander nostalgia
I was gonna
schlop
say
to.
this. Yes.
But I guess I have nostalgia for Harold and the Purple Crayon, but just as a book I used to like as a child, like I would never go see a movie about it. It'd be like going to see an Everybody Poops movie. It's just, I don't understand.
Well, hold on.
Like, I'm not going to see Goodnight Moon, the major motion picture. Okay, you would go see Everybody Poops.
no, but
You would
like,
star in Everybody Poops.
I know I'm the fucking lead role, bro.
You're
but-
the poop.
Yeah, that's true. It's just you bring up a good point about this, which is like this direction of Hollywood that seems to never end, which is this weird pandering of like, oh, what if we turn this into a movie? Or what if we like make a sequel to this? Or what if we reboot this? And it's like, don't we make things anymore? Like, can no one make something new? Like, that's why Oppenheimer was like, Barbie and Oppenheimer were like fucking huge movies when they came out. I mean, Barbie is obviously.
And I mean, Barbie also nostalgia schlop for
Yeah.
millennials.
That
you
is
know,
true.
it's not hard
That
to
is
see where this is
true.
coming from.
But I guess like Barbie never had, I don't know if Barbie had like a book or whatever, but you get what I mean. Like, sure, Barbie was like a toy that came up, but like Oppenheimer, it was like a film retelling of a huge historical event. That's like art. Like, that's something new.
Yeah, there's like interest in that, right? Like that's like something that feels like you can actually add a lot of creative spins to it, similar to Barbie, as in Barbie has no story, right?
Yeah.
Barbie has no plot.
Yeah.
There's no
Well,
thing you can like wrap around it.
There's
Besides
like
maybe
1,000 Barbie
Right,
movies,
TV
but
shows, but
sure.
obviously the point of this was to stray away from maybe Barbie doing her own little mini TV shows that she's done a lot, and more a film for like adults and kids alike to, really showcase that sort of aesthetic of Barbie and her like its own creative story, which is much more interesting than Harold and the Purple Crayon, when you have kind of like ruined the entire concept. I think that the interesting thing that they could have maybe done with Harold and the Purple Crayon was angle it sort of like Where the Wild Things Are. I've never watched the movie, but that sort of translation from book to movie makes much more sense to me than Harold and the Purple Crayon. And maybe that's what they were going for, and they just like flopped.
Yeah, it's very weird. So why is this like a big story that was circling Twitter? Is another thing I want to know.
Mostly because I think everyone was shocked that it made as little money as it did. Like, we're calling it a flop, but it was a flop to a degree that, like, if they had not released it and written it off as, like, a tack break, they'd been like, oh, no, this was just a loss for us. It would have made much more sense. It debuted underneath the 8th week of Inside Out 2.
Oh, my God.
And for reference, that was 6 million, and I think internationally it made a little more. I think like 9 million or something. The marketing for the movie was $40 million.
Oh, so you're saying not even the movie, but its marketing budget was, 8 times how much it made?
Yeah, and actually I got the numbers wrong. It was 6 million on the 8th week of Inside Out 2. And then internationally, it only made 3 million. So its global opening was at 9 million against a $40 million budget before marketing.
Oh, it's before marketing. Oh, shit. 40 million for a major motion picture. That's cheap as hell.
It's not bad, I guess, but that's...
I'm actually surprised they didn't turn a profit because this looks so good.
So you're telling me whoever is in charge of this project is like mega uber omni homeless now?
Let me see who directed this. I'm clicking it.
You gotta click it now, for sure. Carlos Saldanha.
He is known for Rio 2, Ice Age, and Ice Age the Meltdown.
Wait, he made Ice Age?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because like I remember going out to theaters and seeing Rio, and it's like I don't think it's like that bad of a movie. And it was,
Yeah.
I had a ton of people, like famous people in it. Jesse Eisenberg was in it. And Ice Age, of course. I mean, I loved Ice Age. I think every movie after Ice Age blows chunks, but
I'm going to be real with you. I like legitimately thought Ice Age was bad as a child. I was like, this fucking sucks, dude. It's boring.
that's so funny. I loved it as a kid, and maybe it doesn't hold the test of time, but
Oh, he co-directed Robots. Remember Robots?
I do remember Robots. I like that
No.
movie.
That's another movie that millennials have been like,
Oh,
does
yeah.
anyone else have nostalgia for Robots, the anti-capitalist masterpiece? Even at the time, as a child, I was like, this movie blows ass. This movie's not good.
I
They
don't
got
know.
Robin Williams doing big fat booty jokes. Come on. That's
Look,
the highlight of the movie.
All I gotta say is that they gotta start making fucking movies, just like new shit.
Yeah.
Can we please not
Yeah.
just like retool everything?
I don't mind if like movies like Robots blow chunks because it's just like new, right? Like there's
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
thing
it's something.
here.
Yeah.
There's a
least
concept. They're
something.
trying. It's a plot written by something, and they're like, it looks good. Let's run it. Instead of okay, so what do millennials like? Oh, remember Harold and the kids and adults will love this one, and then they just like fart the whole time making the movie.
Okay, I'm actually realizing, watching the trailer for Harold, that Harold and the Purple Crayon, the book, is an artifact in the world of the movie Harold and the Purple Crayon. All right, chat. Dear listener, if you pledge, let's say, $50,000 on Patreon, we will do Bottle Night in the theater while watching this movie.
Yep. True.
Honestly, you might not even have to pay that much. You may have to give me like, I don't know, $20 or something, and I'll go do it.
Send peeps the amount of money necessary for 3 tickets to Harold and the Purple Crayon and 3 Joshes, and we're going to be in.
Yes. Oh man.
Speaking of in, let's get into the fucking posts.
Yeah, no,
Reddit.
The Reddit. Yay, Reddit. Woo.
I love Reddit.
All right, we got 3 bangers today, all sent to us. By
good.
the way, if you all are trying to send us posts at MBT Yu-Gi-Oh on Twitter, just send them to my DMs, and you can send whatever you want there too. I've seen a lot of people use it as like just an image dump. I've seen a lot of people say, Joseph, you fucking suck, I hate you.
True.
I read them all, and they all impact my psyche. So maybe think about that next time. So we have.
Yeah, doing good over there, bud.
Yeah. We have 3 good ones. We are going to begin with this one in the vein of Harold and the Purple Crayon. This is a best of Redditor updates post. I love these. They're so fun. This comes from Direct Caterpillar 77, who has curated it, but the OP is Lazy Chick Bum. This is a 8-year-old post.
Wow.
Oh man.
All right.
2016.
It starts out, I'm going to tell you the first 5 words of this. I just want you all to imagine in your head what these people look and smell like. Ready? My 25F recent boyfriend 37M.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Gave me a book to read. It's really, really bad.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's the original post. I met my boyfriend in our master's program. We became friends over this past year and started dating and becoming serious shortly before I left the state for a summer internship. All right, I'm going to say this to you, women who are listening to the pod. You want to fool around with an older man in your program, that's fine. More power to you. Everyone needs a phase where they fool around with an older man. I have heard. Anyway, he gifted me this book to read, saying that it was one that he liked. It's A Spell for Chameleon by Piers Anthony, a fantasy novel written several decades ago. Are you guys familiar with Piers Anthony?
No.
Oh, good.
No.
This is going to be a great experience for both of you.
Okay, great.
I'm excited.
I knew nothing about it prior and began laughing at it 2 pages in because of how ridiculous the writing was, especially about women. We Skyped after I got through the first chapter, and I tried respectfully explaining my doubts about the book. He made a deal with me. Knowing I'm a big Harry Potter fan, 2016, he promised to give the Harry Potter series a chance, starting with the Philosopher's Stone, if I gave his book a chance and kept reading. This rocked my world, and I had a sudden burst of motivation. Dear listener, women used to be so easy to get what you want from them. You just had to be like, what if I read Harry Potter? And they'd be like, oh my God, yes.
That still works. I guarantee that still works.
It's a dig at my wife. She was a big Harry Potter nerd.
That's true.
And I will say I am definitely easier to manipulate than her.
We're all easy.
I'm about chapter 3, and I cannot stand this book. It is one of the most sexist and misogynistic texts I have ever had to read. It honestly makes me feel like crap. It's just poorly written all around, painfully spoon-feeding obvious symbolism, throwing in fantasy creatures and concepts that do nothing for the plot. The protagonist is a complete dillhole, 2016. that I could not care less about as a reader. I don't want to follow him or anything in the fantasy world of Xanth. But of course, flat out telling my boyfriend those thoughts about a book he enjoys would be hurtful, and he has every right to have different preferences. I'm shocked you would recommend such a book to me. He is a respectful and educated man, treating me very well, identifying as a proud feminist. I'll hold my tongue. This recommendation was out of left field. Does he not remember how hurtful the author's writing on women is? Did he read it at a young age and has since grown? I can't expect him to hold his end of the bargain and read Harry Potter, which is fine, especially if it means not having to put myself through Piers Anthony's excuse for writing ever again. I like the boyfriend a lot. How do I respectfully tell him why I can't invest in this book anymore? It's important to me that he realizes the negative messages being suggested, but I do want to do this without insulting his taste or making him feel like he's at fault. TLDR, boyfriend gave me a book to read. I accepted. It's sexist, poorly written. How do I tell him I can't keep reading? Should I explain my concerns?
Okay. Do you guys?
I got a question up the front. Maybe you might have been about to ask it, Danny, but go ahead. I don't want to interrupt
No. I'm going to say something else. Ask your question.
I was just going to say, do y'all have like a problematic thing that you still like in current times still enjoy, like a media that you enjoy that you know is like, you know, hasn't aged well, but you still, you know, have a fond memory of it, like nostalgia for it or whatever?
Shit, I can answer you all's for you.
Okay. Come on, man.
Mine is Homestuck. Mine's Homestuck. I don't think that's a big jump. And I will defend to the death that it's actually not problematic and all the slurs are necessary.
Oh, true.
I agree.
Okay, yep.
I agree.
You both are big Scott Pilgrim guys, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, Scott Pilgrim. But
yeah, I think Scott, that's great.
Yeah.
They made the new Netflix show and it rocks. Sorry.
I heard it was really good. Yeah,
It was
I didn't mean to.
It was very good. Mine is the movie Demolition Man. Y'all ever seen that?
Oh, hell
No.
yeah.
So
I don't think
good.
so.
Oh, that's our bottle night movie. So it's basically
We do double feature, Harold of the Purple Crayon, Demolition Man.
it's like this movie where Sylvester Stallone gets like frozen in cryostasis, and then he comes back to the future, and everything is all like libbed up and politically correct, and nobody swears, and if they do, they get a fine, and
That's
like nobody
awesome.
can own guns. So like an old criminal comes back, and he's like the one guy who has a gun. So it's so hawky and terrible, but it's so good. I love it. So
Do you have one for me, Joseph?
I said Scott Pilgrim, but what's yours?
Oh, it's a good question. I don't have one exactly in mind. I'd have to start looking because like I haven't like reminisced about stuff that I still have maybe could like watch today and be like, yeah, this sucks, but I love it.
yeah.
I'll have to think maybe like a Will Smith movie.
In the vein of books, my favorite book is Heart of Darkness. I think it's like really good, but it's like racist. Like it's like very racist.
yeah.
And
Oh,
the author of Things Fall Apart, I'm going to fuck up his name. I think it's Chinua Achebe, has essay talking about the racism in Heart of Darkness that I think is also insanely good. It's really fun to read them both as a companion piece. I don't know. It's good.
that sounds fun. I thought of something that maybe I could count this because I probably could still enjoy this book today. So I read all of the Twilight books, right, by Stephanie Meyer. Now, I'm not going to mention those because they're like, okay. I don't think like I'd go back and be like, yeah, I still love this right now. But one book she wrote called The Host. Any of you have read it? It is.
No, I haven't.
Oh, man. It was like one of my favorite books, like reading it. And I bet that if I read it now, it's probably not fantastic. It has like high ratings and people did like it. I'm not sure how well it holds up, but I just know I'll love it on pure nostalgia train.
Oh,
like I
yeah,
just
yeah.
know. I was putting music tracks to certain parts of the book. I was like so invested.
And that's the Twilight author, right?
Yes. So she
Okay,
made Twilight.
all right,
And then
hey.
right after Twilight, she made, I think, the second book and then The Host, or the other way around. So I want to also transition to another portion of this since we're talking about books.
Yeah.
I think I had a similar situation as this. My manager comes up to me because I've told him, I don't know, this was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And so my manager comes up to me and he's like, hey, I know you're into kind of like games and stuff. Cause I've told them, you know, like I didn't start streaming yet, but I was like, you know, big into video games, etc., anime. But I was like not super like loud and proud about it. But I was just like, yeah, I like this stuff. It's awesome. That's my favorite. And so he was like, okay, so I got you a present. And I was like, oh, really? What did you get me? And he hands me a copy of Ready Player One.
Yes.
I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come,
That's
dude.
the best.
And so obviously this was due to the recent movie that came out. It had re-releases. The book changed covers, if any of you know. So I had never watched or read Ready Player One. You know, I've read a lot of books. I haven't read a ton recently in the past couple of years. I want to get back into reading books, but I was like, oh, I love reading a good new book. And he's like, yeah, it's awesome. And I'm like, cool, let me try it out. I have never not finished a book ever.
Yeah.
Literally never.
Yeah.
I read the first couple pages of this book, maybe the first 20. I shut it, I put it away on my shelf, and I never touched it again. I was like, that was the worst thing I've ever read in my entire life.
Awesome.
So good luck to this girl. I have no advice.
Would you like to hear what's in this book?
Yes.
All right, she has written out some of the passages that she took particular issue with. So let's get this going.
All right,
Great.
cool.
Example 1. I like beautiful girls, he said. And I like smart girls, but I don't trust the combination. I'd settle for an ordinary girl, except she'd get dull after a while. Sometimes I want to talk with someone intelligent, and sometimes I want to... He broke off. Her mind was like that of a child. It wasn't really right to impose such concepts on her.
Awesome. Okay.
True.
Wow,
Okay.
that's so awesome.
So is the author... okay. Yep. Go ahead.
That's the point, he said. I like variety. I would have trouble living with a stupid girl all the time, but you aren't stupid all the time. Ugliness is no good for all the time, but you aren't ugly all the time either. You are variety. And that is what I crave for a long-term relationship and what no other girl can provide.
Wow.
All right. Do you got another one for me, or can
There's
I ask
no
a very
way
important
this-
question?
Yeah, there was much more of her that he longed to see and to touch, but that could come only after marriage. She was that sort of girl, and it was part of her appeal. The girls who had it didn't need to put it on casual display.
So,
No way.
So
This
is
rocks,
he
dude.
writing a character that is supposed to be having these misogynistic thoughts, or is the author just
It's a character named Jordan.
hey, fuck you?
Hey. Misfire.
All right, okay. So I guess we should try and tackle it. What do we think
Sure,
she should
yeah.
do?
I
think I honestly...
With all this preamble because I brought up that question for a reason.
Yeah.
The question I brought was do you think it's a situation where this guy, like us, knows that this book is problematic, but he has this nostalgia for it, that he's yeah, I know this book is not gonna hold up with this day and age, but I still really enjoy it. I think you should read it. Or
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that I think should be something you ask him. You'd be like, so why did you recommend me this book?
Yeah,
when was
yeah.
the last time you read it,
Right.
you know? And the short of it is, I don't think you can get away with lying.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get dick, first off, more power to you, but you can't lie your way through this, because sometimes, especially when talking about books, it's really hard to keep up a lie and be like, I enjoyed it when you didn't.
Oh my God.
So I think you got to be reasonable about why you didn't like it and be direct about it. And if he doesn't receive it well, you haven't been dating too long. Is it that big of a deal?
I agree.
yeah, I do agree with that. And it is a situation where there's no benefit to lying.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Dick?
I feel like women specifically feel like they have to say about movies and shit they don't like. They feel like, oh yeah, I liked it, to guys.
Right.
You
no,
don't.
we would prefer that. I mean, me personally, I would prefer that you don't. If you disagree with something I enjoy or whatever, talk to me about it. I would
If
enjoy
you disagree
hearing your
with me,
perspective.
I'll just kill you. You
Oh,
know, that's
okay. All right, or that.
That's so true, though. When you said that I would enjoy to hear your perspective, that's something that, as I've grown older, and this guy's 37, right? So,
Yeah, he's
you
older
know.
than us.
he's an older dude, not super old, obviously, but, definitely older than her. And I personally would enjoy someone who is okay, here's my honest review. I just couldn't really read it. It's not up my alley. To be nice to you, maybe you read it when you were earlier, maybe you read it and it's nostalgic to you. I'm not sure. Tell me more. But I just can't stand kind of the misogynistic lines in it. It just put me off. It just wasn't really a good read for me. And even if it was maybe on purpose, blah, blah, blah. I love talking critique. I love talking about stuff like that and engaging. And it would suck to hear something I love is something that, the person I'm dating doesn't like, but I'd rather hear that than fake it. Nothing is worse than finding out someone was faking it. I would feel so
That's
devastated.
so true. Oh my
Right?
God, seriously, yes.
Devastated.
Devastated. You do
I would
not
rather
fake
you
it
tell
with
me that you hate it with so much guts than lie about it and I find out in some bad way.
No, I totally agree. I think that if I was truly talking to this woman and giving her advice, it's really just be honest. Say this book sucks shit. And honestly, like, why the fuck did you like this? Because there's no way any sane person who has these values that you say that you do would think that this book is good. Like, what the hell? Yeah, be confrontational. That's my other thing, is like, this book kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. Just like, I can maybe be confrontational.
It sucks, dog.
Yeah, maybe don't be too confrontational, but
Yeah.
but definitely
If
be
nothing
honest.
else, I think we can vote about if this woman's an asshole, right?
Oh, yeah,
for
for sure.
Decision time.
When it comes to this evil woman who is anti-book,
My queen.
folks, is she the asshole? 3, 2, 1. No.
No,
definitely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
All right, so let me read you the update that happened
Let's
afterwards.
Okay.
go. My favorite part.
It says, this post was locked shortly after I put it up, so I wasn't able to comment back to most of you. I went through every comment, though, and took them all into consideration. Thank you for your thought. We Skyped the other night, 2016, and the topic came up. I started by saying I liked him a lot, and I really do appreciate how much he's willing to share with me. He caught on to where I was going with this and started laughing. Then I started laughing. And I realized how silly and small of a thing this all was. I guess I just didn't want to risk hurting his feelings. When the reason why I didn't like the book came up, I explained and he totally understood. It's been at least a decade since he's read it, and he could see where I would feel uncomfortable. He's still going to consider reading the Harry Potter books since I give his a chance, and his kids also like the series. He's a single dad, so it would be a chance for him to connect more. I ended by saying I hope this doesn't discourage him from sharing more things he likes. If anything, it encourages me to find some you'll appreciate. Q heart flutters. TLDR, good talk. He's awesome.
Wow.
See?
Well, hold.
Won't be too trigger happy.
This particular post is drenched in 2016 sentimentality, and the reason we're looking at it today is because there was a second update 4 days ago.
Oh, fuck, man.
As of recording, that's August 3rd.
All right, here we go.
Uh,
Hi.
Hi.
Says the
What's
hi.
up?
What's good to see you
I
again.
would reply to this under my old username, but it got locked a little over a year ago, and Reddit banned me for sharing a mayor's office contact information, LOL. So I created this one shortly
Funny.
after. It's hilarious that this post is being shared. It's from such a different time in my life. All of your instincts were right. This relationship only lasted a month-ish after this post. I took an opportunity to live and study abroad for a few months, and it was clear he didn't want anything that deep. Dodged any conversation that required vulnerability, didn't like that I wasn't 100% perky all the time, etc.
Ugh.
I had a rough breakup before this and wasn't making the best judgment calls when it came to dating. I could have got a few more things about him that gave similar concerns now as this book recommendation did then, so I called it off. Oh my god. Then he suddenly wanted to make it work, and he kept it up for over a year after the breakup. We weren't even together that long. He would text me as if we never ended, and I would shut it down. He eventually stopped, but I still get an occasional notification on LinkedIn that he viewed my profile.
Down bad.
I'm now happily married to someone my age. Not knocking appropriate relationships with an age gap. I'm good friends with a couple who are 12 years apart, but I dodged a bullet. Thanks for giving me a good laugh with this flashback.
That's
I mean,
so
I guess
funny.
happy bullet dodge.
I'm very happy they bullet dodged too. Yeah.
Down bad in the LinkedIn DMs.
The LinkedIn profile,
Oh,
dog.
man.
Go on a dating app, please.
Yo, honey, I want to expand my network with you.
I knew it was over when I heard Q heart flutters. I was like, Jesus.
Oh man.
Redditors shouldn't be allowed to fuck.
That's true.
The council has spoken.
All right, this next one's actually hard. Okay,
All right.
so here we go. Am I the asshole for calling my husband's action childish? This comes from Throw RA Flatworm 6234. This is 2 days old.
Yesterday, my husband wanted to see Harold and the Purple Crane.
Yes, you're the asshole.
Yeah.
Die. Die. Purple Crayon Nation assemble.
Harold heads, get in here.
Perp this bitch out. Oh my god. Okay. First sentence of this. My husband is not my daughter's biological father.
Okay.
Her biological dad is not in the picture, but he has been in her life since she was 3. She's currently 16, turning 17 in about 2 months. You know, fellas will fall in line, etc.
Shut up.
And she calls him dad and everything. Background info. My husband grew up in a hoarding situation, so he's really vigilant about teaching our daughter skills that can help her in the future with regards to hygiene.
Okay, sure.
My daughter and my husband have a good relationship, mostly, but the only problem that they have stems from my daughter's dirtiness. I don't know why, but she doesn't like brushing her teeth, bathing, or cleaning her room. She doesn't mind going out with friends every day of the week, but when it comes to hygiene, she neglects it. My husband reminds her, and it's gotten to the point where if my husband comes home from work, he will ask her if she has brushed or bathed, and immediately we inquire about my daughter's hygiene, and she gets annoyed. My husband recently decided to take a new approach. He talked to our daughter and asked if he could clean her room. So the whole last of Sunday, he cleaned her room by himself because he thought the deal was that she was too overwhelmed to actually start. He was trying to give her a new start. Her room was really bad. There were moldy drinks and food. On Wednesday, my husband happened to come across my daughter's room, and she hadn't been able to maintain the clean room. My husband was extremely agitated by this and told her to clean it. My daughter was frustrated and told him to leave her alone because she is not biological dad and he needs to stop acting like this. Now, my daughter did say stuff like this when she was 9, but she grew out of it. My husband was surprised by this and left her alone. He left the house, took a ride on his bike, came back, didn't comment on her room's hygiene anymore, but from Wednesday till today, he hasn't acknowledged my daughter. The two of them have not been communicating. Our daughter was crying about dad hating her the other day. I told my husband I understand his frustration, but he needs to understand that kids are ungrateful. She has told me hurtful things that as parents we can't just ignore because they hurt our feelings, and I feel like this is childish on his part. I understand his hurt, but I feel like for most of us parents, our children have done hurtful things and we do not abandon them. My husband feels like I'm not understanding where he is coming from because I'm saying this when our daughter hasn't even apologized. It's put a strain on our relationship. Am I the asshole?
Well, this one is hard.
Oh,
You're
jeez,
right.
this is tough. Tough.
You got any thoughts, Joseph? You don't start very often. Why don't you start?
First and foremost, anyone who doesn't keep their room clean must be
I agree.
killed.
I see that's the thing. I agree.
I don't know. I will say I was pretty bad about keeping my room clean as a kid. I never got to a position where there was moldy food in there, but I would have like toys laying around. Danny knows because we lived together in college for a little bit that I was really bad in college about, the room was always messy, but it was always messy in the exact same way, which is I would leave clothes out. And so cleaning it was always a matter of like putting all my dirty clothes in a hamper.
Well, it was so funny because every like other weekend, I would try my best to kind of keep my side clean if I could. I understood, I'd help out cleaning if I needed to. But a lot of the time I would go, Joseph, can you please clean the room? And you'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. And then finally, when like Saturday rolls around, I'm like, Joseph! And you would be like, fine. And he would spring clean. He would spring clean the whole place. So he'd do it. It would just take like a week and a half every time, like repeat, infinite.
One thing that I'm pretty bad about is maintaining a level of cleanliness. I'm really good at like when it's bad, getting it back to a level of cleanliness. I think probably because I'm like, oh, it feels like I've done a lot, right?
Yeah, it feels so good.
Yeah, but maintaining it is hard. But by the time we would live together,
you were fine.
I think we were both pretty good about it. Yeah, we kept a pretty clean house. And I think a lot of that had to be we lived in a living situation that was very similar to this, where we were like, never again.
Mega trauma.
But I don't know. Expecting a 17-year-old to keep a clean room is kind of a losing battle, I feel. But expecting them to, at minimum, ensure that they have no moldy food in the house, I mean, that seems like kind of a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah.
The thing that's fucking me up here is I think the mom is completely correct when she says the kid is going to say stuff that hurts you on purpose, right? Like, that's what kids do.
Yeah.
They try and hurt you anywhere they can because they know you have way more power than them. And it's your job as an adult to be like, that was a hurtful thing you said. I'm an adult and you're a child. So I will be more forgiving than I would be with someone else. And like, you will get over it, right? That said, this isn't, as is like explained in the middle of the post, a 9-year-old lashing out at her dad. It's a 17-year-old.
This girl's 17.
Like, there's a fundamental difference between like a preteen failing to maintain a clean room and like a person that probably will have to live on their own in a matter of months being like, fuck you, you're not my real dad, I'm not cleaning shit, and then creating a biohazard. That said, I can't really come down too hard on the girl because, I mean, I don't know if it's apparent to y'all, but it feels like she has something undiagnosed.
Yeah, there's something else going on.
Something's wrong.
Never brushing your teeth, never taking a shower, not taking care of your hygiene.
That's like 8-year-old stuff, That's like when you're like
no, that's not
9, 10, and you fight, and you're like, I don't wanna. And then eventually you kind of like lean into it and you learn, and you're like, I think if I just do it, it'd be much easier, and I'll stop having them down my throat about it. And then you do it. And then you're like, oh, this is easy.
You gotta brush your teeth if you want to be part of a civilized society. You don't have an option.
Yeah. This screams to me of like something else going on.
Yeah.
I could even see that this isn't something like diagnosable, just like something in her personal life that she hasn't elucidated to her parents. You know, like there's just something that's like weighing on her or something like that. No, I'm not gonna shy away from the possibility of it being something diagnosable, but you know what I mean, right?
Right.
There is definitely something else at play here is the point that I'm getting at. Boy, I know, guy with no kids suggesting how to parent moment, but like this feels like something I would at least interrogate. Like this is strange behavior. People brush their teeth, people bathe, people don't leave stuff in their room till it gets moldy. Like, come on. Like, something is going on here.
The thing that strikes me as strange about this one is the mom's response to this. She's speaking about this like she's like an outside observer watching this like bad relationship foster between the husband and the child. But it's like, you are also a parent, right? So her being like, I think my husband and my child don't like each other because of this disagreement. Well, you are married to the husband, right? You're both raising the child. The two of you need to have a consensus on if she needs to clean her room, if she needs to maintain personal hygiene. It can't be one parent says, do this, and the other's like, well, I just want to observe. You have to be a unified front. And her crying to you and saying, like, Dad doesn't like me.
Yes.
I don't think you can be like, oh, you know, like hearing it I think you need to be like, well, it's probably because you are not doing what he wants. Like, she's a kid. You're an adult. You're a unified front. You're a partnership. You're not negotiating a relationship between your husband and your daughter. You need to be negotiating a relationship between your daughter and her parents. Again, guy with no kids trying to talk to people with kids. But it's just crazy that she's like, and this is something that's happening to my husband and my daughter, not something that really affects me too much. And it's like,
you're right. The whole framing of this is so strange. Don't you also not want moldy dishes in the house? Like, you know that that's not.
And she's like, my husband and her have a bad relationship because he keeps bringing this up. It's like, could you bring it up?
Why is he the one that's like, oh, well, he cares more about cleanliness. So you don't give a shit that your daughter doesn't brush her teeth at 17?
Not having a partnership when like parenting and not like working together, not having it is really bad because it is vital, right? To have that partnership together with your significant other when you're married. I think like one thing that not to trauma dump, but my parents, fought a lot, right? And they fought amongst each other a lot. So it could depend on who was feeling better or who was feeling worse. They never worked in tandem. They never were like, oh, like we need to work together and be like partners on stuff. No, it was always like a kind of like battle like this. Like, oh, well, this is just like my husband's just doing the bad stuff. And I'm just watching. If like this girl the daughter comes to the mom and is crying because she's sad. Her dad hates her. The obvious answer to this is, well, honey, you did say some very, very upsetting things to him, regardless of if he was right or wrong to be angry at you about cleaning your room. You said some very mean things to your father, and he loves you, kind of thing. That's the simplest answer of like, hey, this is me being on the same team as my husband. What you said was wrong. Recognize that. And you don't have to be an asshole about it. You don't have to take sides. Yeah. You can just recognize what's happening. Yeah. And by doing that, you're on the husband's like forefront as parents rather than, man, can't you just get over it, honey? What? No. Like everything that Joseph said, I agree with. But at the end of the day, like, I think this is the husband feeling like he can't. He's tried so many things and clearly doesn't have his wife. I'm inferring some stuff, but doesn't immediately have his wife's like kind of support in this because she's on Reddit being like, isn't it like wrong for like, I understand it's hurt, but they do these things and what's going on? Like, this is where you need to talk to him too, right? And be like, okay, can you tell me what's going on? And like, this is really hurting you. So like, how do we make this better together as a team rather than Reddit? Is he being a jerk? Or like, am I being the jerk here? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. And Danny, the really poignant thing that you said that stuck out to me is he probably is so like, I'm just going to get out of the house and like, just like bike away this frustration, cool off, because as evidenced by the poster's frame of reference, it's like they're clearly not involved in this situation and providing any help. So if he's trying to fix this and the daughter is just, telling him that she hates her and the poster's not doing anything, then like
there
what
is
else
a breaking
does he do?
point to this, right? Like you can only parent your kids so much from like, 9 years old all the way to 17. And if you just like, I'm trying everything, I've cleaned their room, she's 17 years old and she's not brushing her teeth like a 4-year-old, what are you supposed to do other than say, all right, if you want to be an adult, I will stop hounding you on this and you can live in filth. Like that's just the way it's going to be if we can't have like a respectful relationship with each other. And like, I think it's less like, oh, I'm being petty to more, this is the choice she's made, right? Like, it's like, if you don't want to consider me your dad and you don't want to listen and you take well, you're not my real dad. You're not my biological dad. So, screw you. And it's like, all right, well, that's the decision you've made. And you don't want to apologize about it. And you're about to go to like, you're close to college age. That's it. Right. And then obviously you want to try and fix that mental relationship. I absolutely get where the wife's coming from to being like, there's a point where you can definitely try and be like, hey, that was really mean of you. And like, can you apologize? But like seeking that apology also can backfire as well and make things worse. It's hard. It's a tough scenario. But I don't think this guy is wrong for like cooling off and letting kind of his daughter kind of work out for herself what she needs to do to kind of mend the relationship a bit here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I do want to say, I guess, a couple things real quick. I think that I don't want to come down too hard on the daughter.
I agree.
Right? Because like she sucks here and is living in filth and everything. And I was like, oh, she's almost 18. She's going to live on her own. She is in many ways still a child.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And she's going to say things, I mean, God knows I did at that age, that are designed to be hurtful to the parents, and the parents just have to roll with the punches on it, right? But I think what's irritating about this story isn't that the daughter is acting like he isn't her real dad, because clearly she isn't. Like, she's sad that she upset him. She like cares very deeply for him. She just won't do this thing and said it to hurt him. So it's not that like the daughter is acting like this guy isn't her real dad. It's that the mom is. That the mom refuses to acknowledge the dad as like a caregiver in this relationship and someone with authority over it. And if the girl can be like, how do I manage my relationship with this guy who lives in our house? And the mom is like, that's a great way of thinking about it. Then like, obviously she's not going to take him seriously when he asks her to do stuff. And I don't know. For that reason, I feel like I come down on a very specific side here, but I guess I'm excited to see where you all end up.
Let's do it.
Decision time.
When it comes to the dad that stepped up, Danny, is the woman in this story the asshole?
I think that there are a lot of holes in this post, a lot of things that feel left out of place, kind of strange in a situation, and a kind of drop of ownership in this post, regardless of course, the tough scenario. We all know it's hard, and we all know, we can kind of sympathize with this poster. That being said, you're definitely the asshole. I think that everything here feels like you have kind of handed this off. You've passed the buck a bit. There's no explanation for a lot of these things. You're the parent too. And I'm shocked that like one of the biggest parts of this post where she says, I don't know why, but my daughter's hygiene is really bad. That's crazy. It's just crazy that you don't know. This is your daughter.
My God.
She's at 17. Figure it out. Figure out why, because that's very important and would probably help fix both you and your husband's pain. So I'm just, there's a lot of negligence, a lot of small little negligences that you can kind of like piece together. So I think she's the asshole.
Jordan?
I'm also going to land on her being the asshole, the poster that is, because like the refusal to interrogate this situation is so baffling to me. Clearly the husband is trying to like do the solution oriented thing where it's like, okay, the stuff needs to be cleaned. Like he probably could take the time to interrogate this and have like a meaningful conversation with the daughter about this, which I wish he would have. But a lot of his time is spent on this battle of cleaning up the room and cleaning up after the daughter. Like you have to fix this. There might not be a lot of time to do that sort of interrogation. And just the frame of reference from the poster of looking at this from a very like outsider looking in sort of perspective is honestly just wild to me. Something as important as personal hygiene or having moldy dishes in your house just sitting there, I don't know. Like the way just not engaging with this at all is very frustrating to me. It makes sense that the husband in this story is very frustrated. She is the asshole, the poster, that is.
I'd like to add an addendum a bit. I forgot the title of the post is, Am I the asshole for calling my husband actions childish? And I think that adds nothing to the conversation. I think that this is just instigative. It's combative. It doesn't like solve anything. It's just mean. It's mean because you described the scenario and this is just not being childish. It's not. It's the reaction of what's happening. So that's what I wanted to make clear, because I feel like I sometimes lose sight of the original like question.
Yeah, and I would agree with that for sure. I will echo that as well. To further add on to my argument as to why I think she's the asshole
also
here.
agree with everything you said.
Yeah, 3-0.
Yeah, there we go.
Got the
3-0.
pussy man on our side.
It's a rough one for sure.
It is rough because like I understand the frustrations. Maybe it feels weird because it's not the biological father. I don't know. There's a lot of crap, but I you know.
But also, like, why is no one talking to the daughter? She's not brushing her teeth. I'm not saying talk to her, like, yell at her. I'm saying talk to her, like, what's going on?
Moldy food in her house.
Just like, are you okay? Can we have a serious discussion? What's going on?
I
Did
do
someone
like when the
hurt
mom's
you?
like,
are you fine?
She's fine to go out with all her friends, but not to brush her teeth. It's like, well, then don't let her go out with her friends. Like, make her brush her teeth before she goes out with her friends. Like, what? You have that power.
Do you think her friends like ignore her like insanely bad breath?
I would be interested to talk to the friends for sure.
Yeah, me too. Like, okay, so does she smell? Yes, and they're like, yep, she smells so bad.
The council has spoken.
This one's extremely important. This comes from Am I the Asshole? It's from user Orange Tradition. Am I the asshole for refusing to participate in my boyfriend's family's bizarre orange tradition?
I'm so in.
I'm intrigued.
My boyfriend and I have been together for a while now, but I haven't met his family until a week ago when they invited us to stay at the house. I was very excited to meet his parents for the first time, and they were sweet when I got there. Both of them are lovely people, and we got along well. They gave us free rein to do whatever, but the one thing they insisted on was that we join them for this tradition of eating oranges as a family on Saturday morning. They grow their own oranges. I've been doing this since my boyfriend was a kid, so he was thrilled to share the tradition with me as a rite of passage. The morning came, and his mom brought in some fresh oranges from the garden. We sat at the table and I was getting ready to peel my orange when I saw my boyfriend's mom bite into her orange like it was an apple with the peel still on. I was so stunned when I saw my boyfriend and dad do the same thing with their oranges as if it were totally normal. I guess they noticed my shock because they asked me why I wasn't eating. So I started to peel my orange, but then the mom told me to stop, said that I was eating it wrong. Just bite it with the skin to get the full experience. I politely told her I like to peel my oranges, and I'm sure they taste just as great either way, but she insisted I bite into the orange for tradition. After saying multiple times that I'd rather peel it, and the family, including the boyfriend, pushing back, I put it on the table and said, I appreciate the gesture, but I personally feel uncomfortable eating oranges this way, and I would rather not participate. Things were tense after that. We left the next day. When we got home, my boyfriend chewed me out for being rude and embarrassing him. He said I just should have eaten the orange the right way since his parents were gracious enough to let me stay with them. I can see his point, and I apologize for causing any hurt. I do like his family. I think they're great, but I stand by my decision to opt out of the oranges. He feels I could have compromised and feel that I should be able to eat things how I want. It's a silly squabble in the grand scheme of things, but my boyfriend and I are really at odds about who's wrong, and I would love an outside opinion.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Well, boys, do you eat oranges the regular way or the correct way?
Or the Aki way.
The Aki way?
Okay. So have you
Never in my
seen
life
anybody eat an orange
Bit
like
an
this
orange?
before?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. I've never done this. Never in my fucking life. Literally never. Literally never. Literally never.
Never in my life. Okay. So I have one theory.
Oh?
I have one theory. So this is a thing that they do in military training where, like, I know my buddy in the Marines did it. I can't remember. So both my parents are in the military, so I can't remember if they've done this before. But, like, in military training, when you, like, go out on a fucking mission or whatever, campaign, who fucking knows, but like basically like a training mission, you are given the choice between an apple and an orange, and the drill sergeant's like, all right, you're eating the whole thing. And they go, what? And they said, yep, every part of it, because you don't want to leave like traces of food around. So my point is, this family might be a military family.
Okay. That's
like literally my only theory, is that this is like a thing that military people do, like when eating oranges, so they don't leave traces of food. But that's like all I got, because other than that, this is fucking super weird. That's it.
I'm wondering, like, now I'm like, how would an animal eat like an orange? Do they eat it with the peel and everything?
No.
I mean, they have,
Yeah, they eat the peel.
Yeah, they have different stomachs,
I'm looking
right?
up a gorilla eating an orange. I'm 100% sure they peel that shit.
Oh,
Like a deer. You don't
Who
think
gives
a
a fuck
deer
what deers
eats
eat?
like
They eat
the
leaves.
peel?
I want to watch a chimpanzee eat an orange.
Oh no, you're
They
right.
are peeling
They're
it.
like peeling
they
it.
suck out the fruit
monkey's
and they
peeling
leave
the orange.
the peel.
Yeah, no, it's like it's in our blood. It's in our ancestors'
Okay, wait. We have to.
blood
Okay, we actually
peel
have to ask.
orange.
Do we think
guess.
that the boyfriend's parents are not ape descended? Do we think they're like they're like some
They're
there's
going to
some
lab.
sort of secret alien race, or they're like an advanced civilization of deer? They're like, why, or like koala? Why aren't you eating your eucalyptus? What's your fucking problem?
Yeah.
It's tradition.
Oh man. Okay. Tangents aside.
Okay, so wait, okay. I'll give you, I guess I will give you an out. There are people who eat the peel of the orange. I think it's personally fucking weird. But, you know, they candy the peel of
yeah,
the
it is
orange.
weird.
You've seen orange peel candy, of course. You zest the peel of an
Okay.
orange. Some
Yeah,
people
yeah.
eat the peel. The problem
Sure.
is, every time I've seen someone eat the peel, they peel the peel off, eat the fruit, and then eat the peel. If I were to eat the peel and the fruit in the same bite, it would just destroy, like, I would just, like, be crunching into mush, right?
Yeah. No,
I
you're
gotta try this at
absolutely
some
right.
point.
Like the mouthfeel would be so ass.
I
We are
can't
gonna
live
have to
my
try it
life
out.
without doing this now. I have to go get an orange.
We got to do it on bottle
I
night.
do. No, this is pre-bottle night. I'm doing this like as soon as possible. Next time I go to the store, I'm buying an orange and I'm just fucking eating that shit like
I'm
an
gonna
apple.
do that on stream. I'm doing that on stream
I-
ASAP.
Okay, wait a second.
Yes.
So they grow these oranges,
Yes.
right? Do you think that these are like special oranges?
Yeah, they
that
like give you
because they're
powers, or like
homegrown-
there's some sort of, they turn you into a zombie that they can like perform the get out procedure on.
Oh, this is mind control.
Or like the reason they don't want you peeling them is inside the orange is human meat. Like there's some sort of secret with them. Something's going on here.
No, you're right. They did freak out when she
don't peel
started to
it. Why is
peel it,
that?
right? They were like, no, you got to eat it with the peel on.
Bite it.
No. It's not the right way to eat an orange.
Okay, now let's talk about this shit. Why were they so mad about that? Why were they so upset? Who cares?
I think that there's a lot of stuff like this, like stupid family traditions that you just have to nut up and do. Like some people are like,
I guess
oh,
so.
you know,
Yeah.
like my family does X, and you're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but I love you and I want to make the family happy and it's important to them, so I'll do it, right? But like, I
Sure.
would draw the line at not peeling an orange, and I think that she does a good job of being like, hey, I really appreciate this. Personally, I'm just not comfortable eating an orange this way. And they're like assholes about it. They push back. They're like wrong.
Yes.
Like eat the
Yeah,
orange like
100%.
this or else.
Yeah, no, seriously. Why is this such a big deal to them? I understand that it's a family tradition, but they have to know that this is an abnormal way to eat an orange, right?
Even if
Like,
it's not, even if it was completely normal, but she was like, hey, I'm just not comfortable doing that. And the boyfriend starts pushing back. Like, how are you not embarrassed for her? How are you not like, hey, guys, can you chill with my partner here? Like, she said no, right? Like, I would be mortified. I would be mortified if like my family forced my partner to feel uncomfortable in any way like this.
yeah, no, this would make me really
I'd be
fucking
so
pissed,
mad. I'd be
actually.
like, I can't believe you guys did this. I brought her here,
But
and you guys
he's
were so
in on
weird about the
it.
orange
He's
thing.
part of it.
But he's in on the clan.
Something's happening,
He's
man.
in on it. He's in on it. The human brain oranges. This is seriously. It's like the tomatoes
yes.
from the fucking Simpsons or something. Like they're trying to get her addicted to something.
It feels so culty. I hate to say it. It feels so culty.
It is.
Something's going on.
I'm bought in. This is culty shit.
I don't like it.
Yep.
I don't like it. Bad vibes.
Yeah, no. I hate how the boyfriend too was like, you embarrassed
Excuse me?
Like, what?
Mal.
Like,
I hate men.
You should be embarrassed because of the
Literally.
parents.
Literally, I hate
Like,
men.
oh,
Or
no,
I hate this
no.
guy. I don't even know if it's a men thing. It's just, this guy sucks.
I mean, I hate men. But like, this man is adding on to the laundry
Oh my
list of
God.
reasons.
Please tell me there's like an edit to this that explains why they're orange eaters.
Let's do the voting, and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Decision time.
When it comes to this woman who simply won't try new things, is she the asshole? 3, 2, 1. No,
but she is gonna
and
get
I think
scurvy.
she should run. She should run
Yeah,
for sure.
she will get scurvy. I absolutely agree, though.
My scurvy queen refusing the oranges.
Let me see if I can. Okay, so here's what we have. We have a couple of edits.
Okay,
Firstly,
thank God.
some people have asked what kind of oranges or whether they're actually oranges. All I can say is I was told they were oranges, and they look like typical oranges with thick skin. Here's a picture of the trees outside. And of course, dear listener, you can't see the tree, but this is an orange tree.
Yeah.
And they do have thick, wrinkly skin.
Yep.
Yeah,
This
no,
just
like-
looks like an orange. Okay.
I'm like thinking about how to bite it, and I'm like, dang, that would suck.
All right. Edit 2. Lots of FAQs, so I'll answer them here. No, they don't bite into it once to make it easy to peel. They don't peel the oranges at all. They eat the whole thing, the fruit, the skin, and the pith.
Oh.
Like one would eat an apple. Yes, it is messy. Yes, the skin is thick. The tradition involves eating the entire orange like that, not a bite. I do recognize I could have surrendered a bite to keep the peace, but this is the first time I've seen my boyfriend eat an orange. He never ate them with me, as he would say that nothing compares to his parents' oranges. Freaky.
Freaky. Nope,
Absolutely. Don't like
Freaky.
it.
He has seen me and our friends and people in TV shows eat peeled oranges. I assume his parents have as well. He's never commented before on the common peeling technique. His parents do this every Saturday. I am not sure how they eat their oranges on other days, but I imagine it's the same. The whole family is expected to participate every Saturday while at the parents' house, but I don't have to do it in my own home. The reason I didn't try a bite is because I was caught so off guard, since all my boyfriend told me was that we were going to eat oranges. He didn't let me know about the method, so I panicked. That and the insistence I eat the entire fruit the way they wanted to turned me off of trying it. I might be open to trying it in the future.
Nope. No, you're not.
I think that covers it. Thank you for the comments. I'll share with my boyfriend.
No, you got this is a cult ritual. It's a weekly thing that they do. They perform it scheduled.
Saturdays.
They eat it in the weirdest way. This is it. This is their weekly ritual to the god Vitamin Citronus. Like this is no, absolutely not.
Big vitamin C is
Yes,
trying to get
big
you.
vitamin C is trying to get you here. The minute you bite into this orange with the peel on, you're sunk into the cult. You gotta go.
This is evil. This
freak
is
shit.
evil. It's
Freak
evil. It's evil.
I do love that they changed their name, or their name is Orange Tradition, specifically for this post. God, it's so good.
There is an update post, but regrettably it was removed in such a way that I cannot find it and removed quickly, and they never tried again.
That's so funny.
So I guess we will never know.
The council has spoken.
Scary stuff out there.
Dear listener, if you have any insight into this, please tell us.
Only thing I can think of. The only way I've heard people eat oranges like this is the military thing. Other than that, this is untenable.
I think Harold and the purple crayon. I think you could draw me an orange to eat.
No, we draw you a purple.
Peel and all.
Well, it wouldn't be an orange. It would be a purple.
I said the same.
Yeah, shut up.
but
The
I
guy
said
who
it
said the joke
louder.
louder is
That's
speaking.
true. You fucking.
All right, we're done here. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.